So the big question is, are we going to have the typical afternoon rain pattern like we've had for the summer, Brittany, or are we going to be able to enjoy some of these activities?
I'm smiling through the pain, Jane.
Oh,
we are going to kind of see a mix. So today's probably your best time to get outside. It's not going to rain all evening, but tomorrow will probably be our rainiest day of the weekend ahead. Now, right now, the one positive I can give you, because I always like to look at the bright side, is that the temperature is not nearly as hot as we have been. 83 degrees with a feels like temperature of 85. Really not too shabby, especially for this time of year. We'll eventually drop to a feels like temperature in about the mid 70s as we approach midnight. Because of some rain today and of course the past few days, there will be some patchy fog possible tomorrow morning. But most of the heavier bands of rain, better chance for scattered storms becoming severe. That's over to the eastern half of the Carolinas, especially toward the Raleigh area. Locally, I have been tracking best chance for rain and storms, mainly along and north of I-40. It has to do where the stalled cold front is kind of set up here. Now we have pockets of heavy rain still moving through Caldwell County. Now they're out of Alexander and Iredell for the most part, but if you're in the mountains, especially Ashe and Watauga counties, you're likely going to start to see that here within the next 30 minutes to an hour. But if you're in one of those areas and you're thinking, oh, rain and storms, I'm not seeing it to the south, it could be those storms near the Tennessee border. And again, it's all positioning of this front. It's stalled right now, so you can kind of see the storms, best chance along and north of it. And that's because we have a cold front to the north and west. That moisture is kind of sandwiched in between. Now, as this shifts back and forth the next few days, we are going to notice those storms kind of sticking around. Very normal with the stalled front that we have more clouds, more rain, and thankfully in this case, lesser heat. And of course, that warm southerly wind from the Gulf doesn't necessarily help in terms of the heat and humidity. Now, again, the storm system kind of shifts back and forth as we enter Saturday and Sunday. So scattered storms, a very typical pattern here during the summertime. The one, again, good thing I can tell you is that those low to mid 80s like we saw today, that lasts all weekend. Saturday, a better chance of rain and storms, mainly in the afternoon, lesser coverage on Sunday. But both days are honestly relatively similar. The biggest difference Saturday, not just the activity becoming a little bit more widespread, but will be a better chance for some of those storms becoming strong to severe. Now, because we've seen so much rain lately, any pockets of heavy rain will produce some localized flooding. So that's our biggest risk. Second is going to be those gusty winds. Quick update on Hurricane Lee. If you want more information, head over to our WCNC Charlotte YouTube page for an update from Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. What I can tell you is updated forecast track 5 p.m. We are starting to see that northerly trek as expected. You can kind of see that little bit of a turn. If you've been told by your best friend, your neighbor, social media, that the storm is making landfall in the Carolinas, that is not expected. I just want to reiterate that. There is no model, zero, that showed this storm making landfall in the Carolinas. Now, notice the consensus models. There's been a slight shift toward the west. So with the center here, we certainly are going to see beach impacts in terms of rip currents, beach erosion, coastal flooding. However, the center itself, as of now, not expected to come to the Carolinas. Now, with that westerly track, we are going to be kind of eyeballing the New England states here, but it is still too early to know where it's going to go, especially past 5 days. But it's good news still that we kind of aren't seeing any major changes. So not much of an update as of late if you've been watching the past few days. But center of circulation well off the coastline. Again, we are going to see beach impacts probably as early as Sunday afternoon. We'll notice elevated rip currents near the Carolina coastline. Checking out locally our 7-day forecast real quick from Guy Roofing. You'll notice Thursday and Friday of next week, if the forecast perfectly comes to fruition, it's actually a cold front, Jane, keeping Lee off the coast, and that's going to produce really nice weather this time next week.